to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm still tired. This is our fourth episode. Um, and it's okay. I'm not going to be less tired probably because I'm getting ready to just go everywhere. Go to all of the world,
Yeah.
all of the world of the US. I was looking at the rest of the flights I need to book yesterday, and I currently have 7 flights booked for the next 2 months. Which is quite a bit. That's why we're doing 4 episodes today, because we're gonna need some time off. Because I'm going to Chicago, and then I'll be going to Buffalo. And then I have roughly a week. And then I'm going to Portland and Richland, Washington, and potentially Seattle. That's still in the works. I know my flight days, but where we're going when is a little less clear. And then I'm flying back for like a week, and then I'll be in New York for like 2 weeks for Caitlin's birthdays, extravaganzas, and what may, anything else. So I'm also a little bit of a nervous flyer. So like it's super swell that I have 7 flights in the next 2 months, and I just got off of 2 different flights. So like in the span of July 23rd to September 30th, I have 9 flights. 2 down, 2 down.
I'm jealous because 9 flights would mean I'd be going like a
Yeah.
minimum of 4 places. And I'm not doing that.
I am very excited to go. And I am excited that majority of the going is paid for. I paid for my last 2 flights, both with points, so that's nice.
Yes.
So really I just have to pay for mostly, I think it's just going to be like food and gas. The rest of the places, which is nice because we have a place to stay in Chicago, obviously a place to stay in Buffalo. We have a place to stay for half of Washington, but I think I have enough points to make out the rest of it, to stay in hotels for the rest of it. And then we'll just pay for a rental car there. But hopefully we'll get something booked that'll pay us too. And then
That
I'll
reminds
have a
me
place
that
to stay in September.
that reminds me that I need to check which credit card put the hotel that I'm going to in 2 weeks on. Like I did it through my Hilton like membership, so like I didn't have to pay for it yet. I just gave them a
Right.
credit card. I just have to remember which credit card I told them to pay for it with.
Where are you going in 2 weeks? What day is it?
Where are you
going?
I'm going to Utica.
New York, Utica?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Dan's cousin's wedding.
Okay.
The one that was actually in Italy. The reception is in Utica.
Gotcha. Isn't Utica like hour and a half, 2 hours from the city?
I don't know. It's like no, it's up north farther than that. Utica's like if like Albany is here and Syracuse is here, Utica's like up there. It's gonna be like a
see, I thought it was in between
no, it's like
Saratoga Springs and
no, it's like a 5 hour.
Albany.
It's like a 5 hour drive from me.
Gotcha.
Which I mean, I guess that could be like a 3 hour. It's like basically like it's instead of going from me to the city, I'm going up instead of down.
Yeah. Oh my God. I also didn't tell you I bought concert tickets.
Oh, other than the ones we already bought?
Other than the ones we already bought. So we're going to Avril Lavigne's Simple Plan. And then I don't currently have a September show booked. So I have to get on that because I've been going to a concert every month and I feel like I can't break my streak now.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Caitlin's birthday show is in September. So like I'm going to a concert, but like
it doesn't count for Caitlin's concert. No offense to Caitlin.
Right. No. Yeah. It like
That's
counts
work.
for other people, but like I work with her.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count for me.
For you, it's work. If I went to Caitlin's show, it would be a concert. For you, it's
exactly.
work.
Exactly. And but in October 7th, I have tickets to see The Used and Plain White Tees. And
so nice.
They don't make sense together, but I love both of those bands, so
Correct.
I'm very thrilled. And it's at House of Blues, so it should be really fun.
I'm
and
really
they have
upset
like a summer deal. We got 4 tickets for $80.
I'm really upset because this week, Pentatonics and David Archuleta are playing a show together, and I want to go so bad. But Dan was like, we're buying a house. And I was like, fuck off. I mean, you're
Fair.
right, but still.
Right. That's totally fair.
Every time I
That's
say I want to
totally
do
fair.
something, he's like, remember how we just bought a house?
One day you won't have just bought a house and then you can do stuff again.
In 30 years when we pay our mortgage off.
Right. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Right.
But yeah, so I am very excited about that as well. So how are you?
I'm okay. I'm about to like shill for a company right now.
You're about to, oh, hold on. My headset may or may not go out through our recording. I'll let you know if it does.
Nice.
So you're about to what, a company?
Shill for a company. Like I'm about to like sell, try to convince people to buy things from a company.
What company?
Rent the Runway.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing. I have a lot of weddings this year.
Right.
We've talked about that a million times. And like my sister's wedding, I was in the wedding. So I had to buy a bridesmaid dress. Obviously my wedding, I bought a wedding
Sure.
dress.
Yeah.
Weird. And then Brittany's wedding, I'm also in, so I bought a bridesmaid dress. But for my brother's wedding and my future cousin's wedding, I'm not in the weddings. And I don't need a specific dress. And I just feel like I spend too much money on fancy clothes that I wear once and then I can never wear again.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, which I feel like I thought everybody knew about this thing, but apparently more people don't know about it than I thought. It's called renttherunway.com. And you go and you say, I need a dress for this week. They give you like a 4-day or an 8-day rental window, depending on what you're like, what you ask for. I always do 8 because I don't trust myself to like
Absolutely.
But when you got it and you look and you say this is the area code I live in and this is the week that I need a dress for, this is the kind of event I'm going to, and this is my size. And then you can just like browse through designer dresses and borrow one and wear it. So like I am going to the wedding I'm going to in Utica in 2 weeks. I got an LK Bennett like $700 dress for $150. And they send you 2 sizes just in case.
Well, that's so nice.
Although they're sending me a 16 and an 18 and I wear a 12, so I'm a little nervous because I asked for a 12 and a 14 and they're sending me a 16 and an 18, but also like designer dresses don't fit normal humans.
Right.
So I'm like, maybe it's fine. But yeah. So
that's exciting.
So
I have heard about it. My roommate used it. I've never used it, but I maybe will one day.
But the thing about it is they send you the dress, but they send you 2 sizes. The second one is free, but so they always send you 2 sizes just in case. And they send you a prepaid return package envelope. So I can just nice so too. I don't have to like ship it. I just put it in the thing and send it back.
Yeah. That is really nice. Is this your first time using them then? So we are getting the pre-spill.
Yes. So this is I'm really excited about how easy it was to do it. Obviously in 2 weeks, once I have the dress, if it is horrible and it doesn't fit me and I have to panic, buy a dress for the wedding 2 days before, I will have a whole different spiel. Stay tuned to that episode. But the process of getting it and the amount of money I spent was
top notch.
All pluses. So yeah. So far so good. Hold on.
Check out the text.
Throw my wine on the ground too.
Yeah, maybe don't do that.
Oh, okay. That's rude. For those of you who listened to Sunday's podcast episode, and I tried to order my food on DoorDash from my dad's group order. My mom just came upstairs to tell me to check my phone because they canceled our order and I have to order a different food. So give me 1 second.
So we need a moment.
No, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Okay.
For my life. Because I feel like it's 4 episodes in a day when I really didn't do anything. There's not really a lot to talk about. So while I'm trying to order my food, you can give me some spiritual enlightenment, encouragement.
Absolutely. I will tell you it is National Wings Day. If you like wings or that's an option on your
It is
order.
in fact.
Excellent. So I just wanted to contribute. But for your quote today, it is magic is believing in yourself. If you can make that happen, you can make anything happen. Johann Wolfgang van Gogh. Goth. I never know how to say his last name.
I know. I
But you
don't
know what, you
either.
know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I sure do. Well, as I'm trying desperately to decide what kind of sauce I want on my chicken wings, I think I'm gonna be kind of lame.
What does that mean? Are you going not buffalo? Are you going mild? Are you going barbecue?
No,
Like,
butter, garlic, parmesan,
yeah, it's a little lame.
and
It's fine, but it's a little lame.
yeah.
My acid reflux is off the chart, so I probably shouldn't, but Rachel is now texting me about us getting wings. So I'm gonna go all in, and then tomorrow I'll
Then tomorrow you
suffer.
can die. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I don't want gluten-free pepper dip. That seems gross.
What even is a pepper dip? Like,
No, it's like a I don't know, like a spinach artichoke dip, but like with peppers, like green, like with yellow peppers and everything. But
oh, I don't want that either.
the bread's gluten-free, and that seems gross. I don't know. Beautiful. Cool. I'm getting 6 chicken wings and some garlic, or not garlic, golden cauliflower bites, in case anyone was wondering.
I do not like cauliflower. I think we're gonna have Wingstop for those of you who care. Now that we've gone off of our tangents that clearly show we need therapy, we lead to
Right.
our dinner orders. So we are having a riveting day.
Yeah.
But don't worry, this is actually
Sorry.
a huge episode. So
yeah, no,
we
sorry.
have to start
My
mild.
my sister's a bitch, and she just sent me a picture of the envelope of the save the date from my wedding, where prior to her being married, where it said her last name as my last name and her now husband's last name separately, and a picture of her invitation to my brother's wedding where it says Mr. and Mrs. his name. And she was like, I'm really glad I got married so I could get this invitation instead of this save the date. Bitch,
Wait, did invitations go out?
for my brother's wedding, not for my wedding. No. I haven't.
Oh, I was like, that feels really early. I'm not ready.
It is really early. No. I just got the samples for my invitations in the mail this week. Oh, I forgot. That's something that I could talk about. I just got the samples for my invitations in the mail this week. And so I'm like, we're between two. It depends on, they're from 2 different companies, so it depends on how we're going to do the pricing on it. But so we've picked out our invitations. We have not ordered or sent them yet.
Got it. Yeah.
No. But yes, even though we both need therapy and I'm a hot mess right now, we are talking about season 6, episode 11 of Stargate SG-1, called Prometheus.
Can you tell me in general what Prometheus means?
Prometheus is a Greek mythological figure. Sorry, I'm pulling up the internet as I slowly stall for time because I know, but I also like don't know. Prometheus is one of the Titans. He's the god of fire. He is best known as the Olympian who took the fire away from the gods and gave it to people and created civilizations. So he's like the beginning of humanity, basically.
Got it.
Yeah. There's lots of things. There's lots of like first man, first contact, like space things named Prometheus. But yes, it's the god who defied the Olympians to give fire to humans.
Excellent.
This episode is actually just called Prometheus, but if you watch the episode, it calls it Prometheus Part 1 because
I thought it was called that.
No. The part 2 of this episode is not called Prometheus. It's called something else / part 2. It's very strange. I don't know why they did it that way. Probably just to like warn people that it was a 2-part episode, because it is. But also it was a mid-season finale. So remember, we don't do cliffhangers at the end of seasons anymore, but in the middle of the season, absolutely.
See, mine says part 1 right here.
Yes, on Amazon it says that.
Yes.
On Amazon for the play on Amazon it says that. On IMDb, Wikipedia,
I see.
everything else, it is not
Yeah.
actually the title of the episode is just Prometheus. For some reason, Amazon calls it Prometheus Part 1, and I'm not 100% sure why.
Yeah, that is weird.
Because especially if you look, the next one doesn't say Part 2, does it?
It does.
Oh, it does. Okay, yeah, but that's
Mhm.
I don't know where that came from, to be honest. So,
Okay.
it was rated 8.1 stars. And it came out on Friday, August 23rd, 2002. We have the same song with Nelly and Kelly Rowland. The movie is different but not new. We went back to Signs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What did we have last week? Oh, Triple X. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably better anyways.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
the
Triple X.
book is Red Rabbit by Tom Clancy, which is a Jack Ryan novel. And we have talked about Jack Ryan in more depth than two people who have never seen a Jack Ryan movie should have on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I know them. I know Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Who plays Jack Ryan?
John Krasinski.
And I know his bestie, Wendell. So look,
Yeah.
I basically am in the show.
Yeah. That's exactly how that works. I actually think I do know someone who's in the show too, but like as a small side character piece. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, it was directed by Peter F. Wost, who again is someone we have seen before, but not in a while.
I do recognize his name though,
Yeah.
at least, which is a real shocker for me.
Yeah. It was written by Joseph Malozzi and Paul Mully and edited by Brad Rines. The guest star who played Al, the producer of the news station. I was like, who the fuck was the guest star? Is named George Weiner. He's known for Spaceballs, A Serious Man, and Not Another Teen Movie. He was born in Boston and went to Syracuse University. He has over 150 credits and he is 79 years old, so he does not have an online presence.
Sure. Yeah. Good for him.
I was about to read you the trivia as if it was the first thing that happened in the episode and that it didn't make any sense. It's like, what? The previously on, we start the episode with a previously on, and it shows Adrian Conrad and Colonel Asshole and all of the things that we had from that episode. To be fair, I literally during the previously on could not think of Colonel Simmons' actual name, and that's why I wrote Colonel Asshole, but also it was very fitting.
Yeah, it is.
Then this episode starts with Sam going to her car on her way to work, and she gets ambushed by a reporter who's asking about a secret government project called Prometheus and a metal alloy called trinium. Sam plays it mad cool. She's like, I have no comment. I have literally no idea what you're talking about. That your readers probably do want to know about that. That's good for you. And then we get the credits.
Yep.
We go back to base and Sam tells Hammond about it and is worried because like even the fact that she knows the word trinium means that there's a leak somewhere because like that's
right.
It's a metal that doesn't exist on Earth. You wouldn't just know the name for it unless someone told you that that was the name for it. That would be like me picking up a rock of kryptonite, having never heard of kryptonite before and seeing a green rock and be like, oh my God, this must be kryptonite. Like that's not
how that works.
That's not how that works. So Sam's like, we have a problem. And Hammond's like, the Pentagon's already investigating, trying to find out who the leak is, where we've tapped into her cell phone. We're tracking her. We know what's going on. And Major Davis is going to go talk to her. We have 4 days before the story is supposed to drop. Major Davis is my favorite side character who like is actually a good guy and helpful and does things and is only there when he's needed and not any other time. Because sometimes you have shows where there's like, let's not forget about the side character. We can't forget that we have him. So we put him into weird situations where he really doesn't belong there. Major Davis really does not do that. It's like this thing involves the government. And so we want to make sure that the government is covered. And he's our like point person in the Pentagon.
Yeah, I always get him confused sometimes because I always like see him and I'm like, do we hate him? And then it never is that way.
No, we don't.
But that is what I think
hate him.
every time I see him.
Yeah, we don't hate him. He's a good one. So but he, despite being a good one, just creepily hops into this lady's car and is like, don't run the story. And she's like, you can't stop me. And he's like, I'm not going to like tell you that the government will be mad at you. I'm just telling you, like, people will get hurt. Don't run the story. And she's like, all you did by you showing up here is tell me that it's
Not
important
to
that I
run.
run the story. Like that,
Right.
that I'm on to something. So Davis reports back to Hammond and says, that on the one hand, they're in the clear because she thinks it's a fusion reactor. So like, they could run with that story forever. And they're like, but if she knows the money trail and she knows the tritium, it eventually it is
It's
not going
gonna
to
come
still
out.
be a fusion
Yeah.
reactor. Which is all just really funny to me because I've been listening to the last podcast on the last story about Roswell this week. And so I'm just like, oh my God. Follow the money. Anyway.
That's always how it is though. Like if
Yeah.
you want to catch someone in like a lie, if you want to catch them, it's always follow the money. That's the only thing that's gonna make sense because people are not giving up their money.
No, I mean, here's the thing. I am. If you really think that you're gonna find anything out about me about where I'm putting my money, it's that I'm on crack. Like I don't trust where I put my money. I buy things
Right.
that don't
But,
make
like,
sense.
If you start at the end and you have the end product, you're like, where did this come from?
Oh.
You're gonna find where it started. That's more of what I mean with follow the money.
Yeah, no. But so Hammond calls the president. They have to figure out what to do. The next scene, Julia, who is the reporter's name, goes to see her producer. And when she walks into the newsroom, she finds her producer sitting at a table with Sam and Major Davis. And she's like, I can't believe you followed me here. And the producer's like, you have to kill the story. And she's like, you can't make me. And they were like, the president personally called the head of the company. You cannot run the story. And she's like, and they're like, and we're going to need all of your materials. She's like, you can't make me give them up. And they're like, actually, we can
do whatever we want. Yeah.
We want to do this the easy way, but if you make us do it the hard way, we will. And she's like, I'll just run it to a foreign news agency. They don't have to follow the president's orders. And they're like, yes, and then we will charge you with treason to the country. So
I was like, I don't know where your A plus B ended up because literally, especially like you've now admitted to it. Like, if you were going to do that secretly, you might could have gotten away with it. But now you've told them.
Right. Like if it was a leak to a foreign press agency that probably went back to you, but there was no actual physical ties to you, we would all hate you, but not prosecute you. You just told 2 U.S. Army majors, I'm sorry, U.S. Air Force majors, that you have every intention of committing treason against the U.S. government.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're a moron.
After Julia left her producer, after she left the room, we don't see this, but after she left the room, the producer agrees that to reveal the source, to plug the leak in the government in exchange for an exclusive tour, which the Pentagon has agreed to, only with the caveat that the Pentagon knows, even if the producer doesn't, that they will be destroying all of the film at the end of the exchange.
Right.
This episode was really difficult for me in terms of my trust of the government, because
I was just about to say
because the thing is, it's Stargate. We're rooting for the Stargate team. We're rooting for the military. We want the Pentagon and General Hammond and the president to be correct. But also, is the government hiding secret underground spaceship bases from us and destroying the evidence?
And also, it's like, when you look at it like this, it's like, where do we get this video and then destroy the evidence? It's like, is the moon landing faked? Like, I don't believe this, but that was like my first thought. I was like, okay,
I was like, so what you're telling me is that Roswell wasn't a weather balloon?
Yeah, like, mm, so
Yeah. So other than the fact that I now question every conspiracy theory I've ever heard and think that the government is lying to us more than I thought before this episode, which wasn't a low
it was
number.
right.
Um,
Yeah, like the birds aren't real. Nick gets really upset when I say that.
Say that one I just laugh about.
Me too.
I don't have any feelings. Obviously, I love birds. I have worked with birds. I
Right.
have helped birds hatch. I don't think
Yeah.
birds are fake. That would be dumb. I know I have a very good friend who is literally her job as a zookeeper is only to take care of birds. I don't
Right.
think birds are fake.
Yeah, it's just so
But
funny because
also,
he does get really upset. He's like, please don't say that. Please don't. Why are you saying
but like
that?
also all politicians are secretly part of the same club where they like talk to each other and plan out the soap opera drama that is going to be us pretending we have a say in the government
Every
and
time.
aliens have come here. Those I believe 100%.
Yes. Those anytime it's like a secret society doing something, birds are not a secret society. Do I think there are drones the government uses? Probably.
Oh,
I don't think
sure.
they're
There
related
are
to
government
birds.
drones. There are government drones that look like pigeons,
Right.
but not all pigeons are government drones.
Exactly.
It's like
So like
all rectangles are square. No, all squares are rectangles, but not all
but
rectangles are squares.
right.
All government drones can pretend to be pigeons without all pigeons being government drones.
Exactly. Like that is exactly how it is. But if you tell me there's a secret society talking about something that only the rich people know, 100%, no question. I don't care. You could tell me they do magic, and I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right. You're
I've
probably
met
right. They've kept that from us.
I've met some magicians, like some people who like
Hmm.
legitimately think they're like legitimately work as
Hmm.
magicians and not like Penn and Teller show me magicians, like people
Yeah.
who like magicians. Um, what a fucking weird world.
Yeah, I haven't like met them, but I've heard that it's a weird world. So I don't know, bro.
Um, Jack hates this idea so much that when Hammond sends them to the Prometheus lab to run this tour, he sends Sam and Jonas.
Our
We'll
little
come.
dream team.
We will come back to that. Um, fun facts. Julia and Al arrive with their news team, and Sam takes them into a bunker. Um, Sam tours them through the ship and tells them that it's all made with the help of aliens. They're like, "Oh my God, little green men." She was actually they're gray. Um, and she lies about an alien ship crashing in Alaska in the 70s. And that they didn't have the technology to understand it until now. And she just like
So,
wildly makes up all of this crazy shit.
wait, so is this a reference to the Fourth Kind movie that's supposed to be based off a true story?
You know, I don't know.
That's my only knowledge of Alaska and aliens. Have you seen that movie?
I have
We should watch it for the podcast one day. It's a
we
little
should.
creepy.
So
Um,
the Alaska Triangle is an area that is infamous for alien abductions, Bigfoot
mhm.
sightings, paranormal phenomena, and but also there's a lot of triangles. I just this week listened to the Keep It Weird episode about the Bermuda Triangle.
No, you listen to Keep It Weird?
I just started.
I love Keep It Weird.
Yeah, they're
I'm
on
a
my
Patreon member.
I'm on there. They're on my list because you told me to put them on my list, but I just started this week. And I was listening to their like it's like their second or third episode or something, but it was about the Bermuda Triangle, but then it was about all of the different like weird like paranormal triangles in the fucking world. So there is one in Fairbanks where there has
Mhm.
been, and I guess I don't know enough about the Fourth Kind movie, but my guess would be if that says it's based off a true story, it's probably
Mhm.
based off something that happened here. So
Yeah.
yes, but also I had no trivia about that fact.
Okay. Maybe
So
I know more than IMDb.
probably that but I did laugh when she was like, at least I didn't say Roswell. Because again, I listened to the Bermuda Triangle
Yeah.
podcast and the Roswell podcast this week. I don't know if you guys know, I'm obsessed with aliens.
Yeah. Yeah. In case no one knew. Surprise.
The video team sets up in the bridge while Sam continues giving the tours. But then one of the video men pulls out a Zat from his camera bag and shoots the guards.
Yo, not shady at all.
Also, I'm obsessed with my penmanship on the word Zat and nothing else on this page. It is beautiful, and I don't know if you can see, but look at how phenomenal.
Look at that little kick out. Got a nice little angle on it.
On that Z, I know, beautiful. Never have I written anything that nice, and nowhere else on the page is my penmanship that good. But I stopped and stared at that word for like 5 minutes after I wrote it. I was like, God. Anyway. The tour continues with the rest of the team none the wiser until the computer beeps that the hyperdrive tests were interrupted. And Sam's like, this is sketchy. So she tries to get a hold of Sergeant Gibson to no avail, and she heads back to the bridge where she finds this team of goons, and she starts to fight with them. And Jonas is still in the engine room trying to shut down the ship as it goes into lockdown. And then the henchmen have this woman whose name is Jones lock down the room that Sam is hiding in, which is a storage room. So now Sam is trapped. But in the engine room, Jonas pulls the control crystals out, and the henchmen arrive in the engine room and try to shut down the computer, but they can't. And then Al, bitch ass Al, rats Jonas out. At this point, we find out that Julia is genuinely confused. She literally thought she was just writing an expose post thing about secret government money, and now she's on an alien spaceship with her producer helping people like shut things down and steal control crystals. She's in over her head.
Bless her heart, yeah.
Sam is looking around the room that she's in to try to MacGyver her way out.
Little RDA in there.
Let me tell you. Just a quick side note. I sent Courtney a video about this because I was really angry about these guys that I listened to on a podcast that are British guys who talk about American TV, and they were discussing the trailer for the 2016 reboot of MacGyver. And they were talking about how like the trailer didn't make sense to them. And the one guy was like, well, if you don't know what MacGyver is, this trailer doesn't make sense. But like in America, there's no such thing as not knowing what MacGyver is. Like it's part of pop culture. Like to say that you MacGyver something is just like literally part of their vocabulary. like no one, even people who don't watch the show, know what it means.
Right.
And then they were talking about how it's a dumb idea because it's basically like a MacGuffin. Like you just walk into a room and the 3 things you need to build a bomb just happen to be in there. And I was like, how fucking dare you?
Okay, but when I watched that one episode of MacGyver that one time, he used like spider webs and wood in a shed. Like those things are in sheds at all time. That's not like a convenience factor.
Correct.
I have not watched other episodes, so I don't know if they are convenient.
Correct. But like in the new, and to be fair, this was when they saw the trailer for the new show. They haven't actually watched the new show yet. But in the new version, like in the old version, obviously it was 80s action TV. Like it wasn't, a little bit of it was more convenient than necessary. But in the new version of the show, every time he's making something, he's explaining the science behind why what he did makes sense. And he never thinks it's going to work. And sometimes it doesn't. It just does something. So like, but I was so mad. But then in the same podcast, they talked about how The Exorcist should not have been made into a TV show. Fox's best bet would be to sell it immediately because they're not going to be able to do it well, and that the whole show is going to be a disaster. And so by the time they were done shit talking MacGyver and The Exorcist, I left Courtney a message just flipping out. But yes. In this case, I did find it a little convenient that Sam in a storage room was going to be able to find everything to make a radio.
Right, but this is Stargate in 2002. Like, it's different.
Yeah. So then the hijackers activate the hyperspace drive, and Jonas is like, what the fuck are you doing? The whole ship's going to blow up. And they're like, yes, we know. This is a hostage negotiation situation. We want it to blow up unless we get what we want.
Yeah.
Great. Then outside on top of the bunker, the Air Force is setting up base with Major Davis. Everything's getting ready. Jack shows up. Yes. Losing his goddamn mind that any of this is happening. And he's like, did
Yeah.
anybody give a single one of these fucking people a background check? Like, what in God's name are we doing? And Davis is like, yeah, like we vetted them, but like obviously this was a fucking long con. They've been like associated with us. Like he's like, we think it's NID because then we wouldn't be able to do it.
You wouldn't know, yeah.
And Jack like kind of starts to calm down a little bit because of course it's the fucking NID. But at this point, Mayborn's AWOL and Colonel Simmons is a prisoner. So like,
okay, but Mayborn's our friend now.
yeah, Mayborn's our friend and he's AWOL. Colonel Simmons is a prisoner. So like, if there's people getting things, it could go all the way up to fucking Senator Kinsey and they can't do shit about it.
Ugh, the worst.
They get a transmission from the hijackers, and the hijackers, surprise, surprise, want them to immediately release Colonel Simmons and Adrian Conrad.
And Adrian Conrad, what did he do? What was his bad thing he did?
He was the one who...
Was he the research guy?
He was the research guy who owned the company that tried to build the spaceship and Nightwalkers. Sam MacGyver's a radio and calls out. We find out that the Joint Chiefs are calling an emergency meeting to deal with this hostage negotiation. And then Sam and Jack swap info. Basically, Sam tells them everything she knows. Jack tells them everything he knows. And they decide that Sam is going to have to try to sever the connection that will make the ship fly to ground it so that they don't get out of there.
Yeah.
Julia, back in the hostage room, Julia asks Al why he's doing this. Like, why is he a part of this? And he's like, they are giving me a lot of money. And Jonas is like, you guys know
it's always the money.
Yeah. And Jonas is like, you guys know you don't have a chance of like this actually working. There's only 2 ways off with this ship. Like in handcuffs or a body bag. You're not like going to get out of here alive. And they were like, maybe we don't want to get out of here. That's sketchy. Sam is cutting her way out of her little storage room with a plasma gun, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know science.
I don't either, so it's okay.
Davis has in fact retrieved Simmons, who is being an absolute fucking twat muffin. And he is like, oh, I'm not going to tell you where Conrad is. He doesn't know.
Right.
The goons, as I started calling the hijackers, are having problems because the settings are off and they like try to threaten Jonas to like fix it, and they like pull out a gun and Al's like, no, like the whole deal was that nobody was gonna get hurt. So they just fucking shoot and kill Al and they're like, no more complaining, fix the computer.
They mean business.
So obviously Jonas does, because what is he gonna do? Have them shoot Julia?
Die?
And
Yeah.
him?
Right.
Teal'c has in fact retrieved Conrad from wherever SG-1 was hiding him, because I have no idea, but I know SG-1 had him because I remember Jack pulled that magic trick off. And they are approaching their deadline, so they decide to send in the prisoners. Jonas repairs the computer and Adrian appears and says he's like, don't worry about it. I will fix the hyperdrive. Y'all are too dumb to do this. And Simmons takes control of the operation and sits in his fancy little seat on the bridge and acts like he's the fucking captain of the spaceship. And then outside, the SG teams outside in the Air Force are worried that Sam's going to die. Because, fun fact, Sam is in a section of the ship that isn't fully pressurized because they're not done building the ship.
She's in the unfinished basement of the ship.
Yeah. So Simmons radios in. He's like, Major Davis, open the roof. And they're like, no. And he's like, okay, then I just blow up the ship. I don't know what you want. So they open the roof.
Yeah.
Because again, we keep talking about them blowing up the ship. I haven't discussed the fact that if they blow up the ship, they will create a crater in the earth the size of the entire state of Nevada. Not just like everybody on the ship dies, like everybody in the state of Nevada dies.
Right.
So the ship takes off and Sam is fighting through the ship because it's like windy because she's in the unpressurized section of the ship and she's like trying to get through it. And the team on the ground is like trying to decide what to do, but Jack and Teal'c are like, you know what? We still have the Death Fighters from when we crashed in Anubis' ship. We will get up there. And Major Davis is like, well, the radar system is one of the things that isn't finished. Lucky for us. So you can sneak the Death Fighter into the lower loading bay. So they do. Simmons like shows up in the engine room to introduce himself to Jonas and Julia, and he's like, "Don't worry, Major Carter's dead, and I'm in charge now." Sam makes her way to deck 8 to cut the power, but Adrian still hasn't gotten the hyperdrive worked out, so the ship is now going to start crashing back toward the Earth. The goons get to Sam and are about to take her out when they get zatted from behind because Jack and Teal'c have made it onto the ship. This is one of those things where like it was really high tension in the moment, but like the actual like plot of what happened, it's not a lot to talk about. Yeah. We'll talk at the end, but like the actual like step by step is not like the hyperdrive becomes operational. They open a hyperdrive window and leave Earth's orbit. Conrad decides he's going to double cross everyone on board and try to take over for himself because remember he's a fucking Goa'uld and we like just didn't remember that.
Right.
But then Simmons shoots him and so he's dead. And Jack and Teal'c find him dead and they find Jones injured. And they're going to find the rest of the hostages when they get attacked by Simmons, who is now a Goa'uld because obviously the symbiote didn't just like take that shit when Conrad died.
Just found a new host.
So then we have an extended battle scene between Jack and Teal'c and Simmons. When Jack opens, when the ship exits hyperdrive and Jack takes that opportunity to open an airlock and Simmons goes poof right out of the ship. And we have a very extendedly long moment of Jack trying to make sure Teal'c doesn't also go poof out of the ship.
Right.
But don't worry, both of our boys are okay.
All is well. All is well.
And so then it's now Sam, Jack, Jonas, and Teal'c all together again. And the 2 Air Force soldiers who were stuck on the ship with them, who got zatted in the first scene. And Jones, who is the only one of the prisoners conscious. I don't know where the other 2 guys are because they only got zatted once, so they're not dead. But then Jack tells her not to worry about where they are, so I'm not actually 100% sure where they are.
Well, either he got them or like they're so lowly that like they're not really someone to be worried about, you know?
But they're like, okay, so now it's time to go home. And Sam's like, here's a problem. I can't. Because when they dialed the hyperdrive address, they did not know enough about the ship or the Nequadria to understand how unstable it was going to be. So we're not where they think we are, and I don't know where we are. So I physically cannot make us go home because I don't have a starting point. I can't program the hyperdrive. I can't find a gate. Like I have nothing. So they're kind of just like flying around in space, trying to find some concept of where they are to like then figure out where to go home. And Sam's like, we're about 1,200 light years away from Earth. And Jack goes, and that helps us. How? Right. When, as they're floating around, another ship exits hyperdrive and it's an Asgard ship. And then boom, bang, surprise, Thor in his new body, which looks exactly the same as his old body because he's a creature of habit and he doesn't really need a flashy new body, beams onto the ship. Jack is so excited to see his old friend.
I was too.
It was so cute. He was like, Thor. And of course, you have like Jones and like Jonas who are like, what the fuck is going on?
We're like,
here?
who is this just
What
happening?
is happening? And so they're like, can you take us home? And he's like, actually, I need your help. Because I need you and I need your ship because the entire Asgard homeworld is currently taken over by replicators and we have nowhere to live. And then the episode ends with a to be continued.
What a wild time. I mean, I was just like I knew we were coming to the end of the episode and I knew it was a two-parter. So I was like, I don't know where we're going. We're gonna be stuck on the ship. We're gonna be stuck in space. No big, we're just gonna start over. We're gonna get out of space. And then Thor shows up. And I was like, hold up.
Yeah.
I have
Also
questions.
you have to wait about 5 days before you watch the next episode of the part 2. The part 2 came out in January.
So
So
when did this one come out?
August 23rd. The next part
Absolutely not.
The next part didn't
No.
come out till mid-January of 2003.
God, no.
So
No,
if you were watching this in real time, like 12-year-old me, no, 2002, I was 10. 2002, I was 10. So 10-year-old me with the patience of a 10-year-old had to wait 6 months. Yeah.
I would quit. I would quit the show. It would be too much.
So I do have some trivia. One is that when a plane takes off without pressurizing, there's no wind. If you were already in a pressurized cabin that then lost pressure in space, there would be wind. But if you're taking off, the pressure changes slowly enough that there's no wind, you just go unconscious and die because you lose oxygen. So the scene of Sam like fighting her way through the wind was just dramatic for fucking no reason. Scientifically not accurate
possible
at all. Also, she said she was on deck 7 and the ship and the power room was above her on deck 8, and no spaceship in the history of ever has been numbered like hotel floors. Cruise ships and like ships, the numbers go down, not up. So that didn't make sense either. We've talked about like where they get their alien technology from before, and Joseph Malozzi said in a blog that basically the mothership from Descent crashing and the half-constructed ship from Nightwalkers are canonly how they were able to build the Prometheus. They took those two things. Obviously, we've seen multiple ships on Earth this season, so that's more believable. And then we get to my favorite thing about this episode. And I don't know if any of you realize this. I think I've mentioned it before, but we don't really talk about it often. Not only was Richard Dean Anderson the star of the show, he was the executive producer. Or one of the executive producers. So he did, in fact, get veto powers or note powers on scripts. He was able to look at the scripts, and the same as Joseph Malozzi and John Paul Mully and Brad Wright were, he was allowed to veto things in scripts.
Right.
Some people had not seen a lot of things from him, and they didn't know how he marked scripts and things like that. And when Richard Dean Anderson like marked through a script, he didn't say like he was a little bit backwards from the rest of us, and a check mark meant he wanted it out. He wanted to get rid of it. He was like, nope, absolutely not. Nope to that. And just Malozzi got the script back from Richard Dean Anderson looking at it for this episode and thought that he had done phenomenal because there was just check marks all over it. And Brad was like, no.
That's not what that means.
That's not what that means. Richard Dean Anderson found the idea of A, post 9/11, and B, just military in general, letting civilians do that, taking over, hijacking the ship to be the most offensive thing in the world. He hated the script from top to bottom. And that's the reason why Jack was not the one on the ship with Sam for this episode, was because Richard Dean Anderson was so angry about it that they decided, instead of to completely change the episode in order to still get them to space and to get Simmons to die and to get Thor back, they didn't want to completely change the episode. But Richard Dean Anderson was not having any of it. So they put Jonas on the ship instead so that Jack is nowhere near the ship when it gets hijacked because he would not have fucking been able to do that. The directors and producers genuinely think, and like writers genuinely think the scene where Rick is yelling at Colin, who plays Major Davis, about how did you let this happen? They don't think he's acting in that scene. They genuinely think that he is just, that is how he genuinely feels about the idea of the spaceship being hijacked. He
seemed a little extra.
He was like
aggressive in this episode.
He was like, fuck this from top to bottom. That's why he's not in the episode almost at all, because he was like, no.
That's so funny.
No. Yeah, and that is just my favorite thing, that he was like, as a producer, I get to read the script first. Also, fuck you. But I mean, we talk so much about how like Jack is just military version of Rick.
Right.
And the idea that something like the military, like not being able to control that situation, was so offensive to him just warms my heart.
Yeah. It does. I love that. I did think there was, I don't remember if it was that scene or there was another one that he responded to something and I was just like, whoa. I was like, that feels like Richard Dean Anderson said that.
I think it's that when he yells at Major Davis, it's very much really him. But also when General Hammond is like, we're gonna let them have the tour and then like do the videotape, and then he goes, that is the stupidest. I was like, there was not a moment of that is acting. He is pissed. He thinks that this is the dumbest episode he's been a part of. He thinks that everybody involved in it is stupid. He thinks that if he has to play along to get to the end game of getting Thor back, he's not going to be fucking happy about it. Like, he's like, duh. And I love it. Love it.
Me too.
So we're at a mid-season cliffhanger. We have 5 months to go before the next episode. What are your thoughts, theories, predictions, feelings?
I don't even know. I mean, Thor's alive, so that's cool. Very pleased about that. I guess we're going to Asgard, but I don't know, like, I don't yet know how to not let the replicators take over the entire world. So my first thought is burn it to the ground, but that's also where the Asgards live. We don't want to actually burn it to the ground, you know? Right. Because anytime you zap them, there's just more of them.
Yeah.
So unless you have like a transporter zapper, you just transport them to a different planet and then blow that planet up, like an empty one.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. Because also I would have thought that we would have kept, what was her name? Ray. What was the girl's name that created replicators?
Reese's Pieces, yes.
Reese's Pieces. I thought that she would have stayed around and she was going to be the solution to the replicators, which I think I said that at the time.
Yeah,
it was weird that she was gone because now I don't know what to do.
And Doug felt the same way too. That was a big complaint.
Yeah, so I truly do not know how to defeat them. I don't know how they got to Asgard, but there was a lot of weird crossovers between all the different ships and races. So like, I'm not surprised if they're there. I just don't know that I followed how they got there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Thor is still Michael Shanks, right? Like,
yes. Hold on. Yes, but
no.
No. I'm just double checking that this is the episode that I think it is. I believe that this is the episode where all of the audio is actually just previous audio repurposed. I don't believe Michael Shanks did any new audio for this.
I see.
I remember I had a note from the beginning of the season about what an episode that was
repurposed.
yes, that like that happened in, but I forgot to double check it before I took my notes for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know that I have
Yeah.
any predictions because
Mm.
I mean, we're gonna go to Asgard with Thor. And that's how we're gonna find out how to get back home because we know the location of Asgard, so we can use that to get back to Stargate.
Yes.
But that is what I have.
Yeah, no, I believe, yeah, this is the episode that I think is just um
Replayed pieces in a
replayed
different order.
pieces.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, but there's one other trivia piece that I wanted to talk about that it doesn't affect you, but we talk about Star Trek about once a week on this
Sure.
podcast every week. The scenes, the interior scenes of some of the hallways and stuff in the Prometheus are actually recycled set pieces from one of the Star Treks. And John Delancey, who plays Colonel Simmons, is a commander in that series of Star Trek.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So he's like at home. He knows where he's at.
Yeah. So like the scene of him sitting in the chair acting like a fucking twat is hysterical to me because it's just him.
Yeah. That's just
Mhm.
where he hangs.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So who do you want to punch?
I think I'm gonna go with Simmons. There are a few different people that you could punch, but I mean, I just hate him. Because not only was he a bad guy, but he then also turned on the other bad guys who he was supposed to be teaming with. So
yeah, that's totally fair. I think I'm gonna have to punch Al because you never just do that shit just for the money.
right.
Uh, it's dumb and it's not worth it. Who is your MVP?
So I want to say Thor because I love him, but I'm gonna go with Sam because she ran in circles trying to make sure no one died and they got.
Yeah,
And I thought she did a pretty good job
that
and
is
not having a
totally
lot to work
fair.
with.
I'm gonna go with Thor because
Mhm.
because everybody else sucks.
Yeah.
Not really. There's not really anything that some people did not do anything bad, but also like
Right.
most people didn't do anything good either.
Correct.
So that is yeah, that's all I have. I'm really mad that I can't find this article that told me which episode season 6 was all repurposed voice pieces. I really do think it's this one because this is the first time we've seen Thor this season, right? Yeah, so then it must be this one.
Yeah.
So I'm dumb. And I've had half a bottle of wine and I'm sad today. So like it's fine.
It is what it is.
If you have any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, feedback, if you can find that fucking article that I can't find, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com and follow us on all of the social media at deathandaliens. You can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And with that, we will see you next week. Or we'll see you on Sunday for another wonderful episode of Hannibal.
Nope, we'll see you on Thursday for an episode of
Thursday is where we see
Hannibal.
Hannibal. I mean, I got that the next episode that came out would be Hannibal. I just don't know the
You
dates of
did.
the week, apparently.
Correct.
Doing
So,
great.
alliteration.
Yeah, but I didn't say Thriller Thursday. I said Hannibal in it, so it fucked me up. So there's no
great.
day of the week that starts with H.
That's true. That's true. That is a correct statement.
All right.
All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.